Hello and welcome to the Irn-Cru podcast, an American football podcast made in Scotland by NFL lovers. I nearly made an arse again, Kev. I need to work on that. I'm going to do that in the mirror. I will work on that intro. This week, as I've just alluded to, I am joined by, seems to be our usual two here, Kev Coggle, our Eagles fan. How's it going, Kev? Good week?
Yeah, good mate, good. We bye week that weekend there for the Eagles, so it was all about fantasy for me this weekend, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Good. And here to keep us two in check is Andy, our main linesman from Inverness. Andy, mate, how are you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Just recovering from last week. Bit of I wouldn't say a massive shock losing to the Vikings, but yeah, we'll need to bounce back this week in what looks like a really tough division.
Yeah, we'll touch on a few of those games, but I don't know, is there any shock defeats this year? It just seems to be that MD can beat MD and it is complete parity across the league. So, yeah, obviously something to learn from there for the Lions. Right, we've got loads to get through. Again, I can't believe, what's that, 9 weeks in? We're just about coming up to week 10. The trade deadline has been and gone. We're a wee bit later in the week. Again, I think people are setting fires, but in a nice social way, around setting off fireworks and stuff like that. I didn't do too much of that myself. Were you celebrating it, Kev? Letting off a couple of bangers?
No, mate, no. The wife's sister's dog gets really scared at bonfire night, so we actually went and took the dog out of the house and took it a walk around the park and stuff just to try and keep her calm. So, it was it was a different Guy Fawkes for me.
It's good. How about yourself, Andy? Did you go out and do anything?
No, funny that you say that, Kev, because we've got a puppy, so it's his first bonfire night. So it was just sort of staying in, and luckily he was quite all right with it. So quite a chilled night for us.
That's good.
Good. Yeah, as I say, I didn't do much. So we're in Thursday night. So we don't want to delve too much on last week because we're already into the throes of next week already, and it's almost here, and I can't wait. It's my favourite team of the week. But let's recap some of the main news, obviously coming out of the league after this weekend. And it's sad to say, but it's just a list of injuries to key players across the league. So first up, Jaden Daniels gave me an absolute dry bulk, that one did. He dislocated his elbow. It twisted in ways elbows are not meant to be twisted and bent. Is that the end of the Washington season, Andy? Is that done and dusted?
I don't want to say no, because we've seen last year as well, Mariota can step in and be serviceable, but it's not just the injury to Daniels, is it? Because they've lost Lattimore now, I think, for the season. Luke McCaffrey's on IR. I don't want to say no, but it's going to be tough for them. I don't think, obviously, with the division they're in as well, it's tough as it is. But this was this sort of concern, wasn't it, coming out of college? Jaden Daniels was, how durable was he going to be when it came to the NFL? He obviously likes to run, and there was a bit of controversy of when the injury happened. Obviously, they were down quite heavy at the time, so I think I think the head coach did admit that maybe he fumbled it there a wee bit in terms of not pulling him from the game. But yeah.
It's one of those unfortunate things. You can never tell when these things are going to arise, whether it's the fourth quarter or the first quarter or training. It is just one of these things. Kev, obviously, it's always sad to see key players and stars for the league go out. Obviously, your Eagles are sharing a division with Washington. Are you kind of, I'm not saying sad to see them go, but do you think that's the nail in that coffin as well? And you think that's another keen team in the NFC East kind of bit the dust, so to speak?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if I'm being honest, I felt that way before the weekend, before they lost Daniels. Andrew's mentioned the list of injuries. McLaurin's barely been on the field this season as well. One of the star players. And yeah, I think the only thing we've got to worry about now is the Cowboys, and that's saying something because
How could you say that with a straight face? Behave yourself.
I almost managed it. So yeah, I mean, see, to be honest, for me, for the Eagles in our division, felt comfortable Other than that kind of wee wobbly spell where we had the 2 losses back to back, I've always felt that we would win this division this year. So for me, it's all about that number 1 seed. So sorry to say, Andy, but I was quite happy to see you guys lose at the weekend.
Oh, we'll get to that point, I'm sure. Other injuries, CJ Stroud, it looks like he's not recovered from his concussion. He also took that hit, so he's got to be missing this week's game, which is obviously a massive blow. The Texans are still kind of hovering about there. Again, absolutely plagued with injuries. Nico Collins hasn't quite been fit. He's been in and out of the team, O-line. What kind of impact, Andy, do you think that's going to have on the Texans?
I think it'll have quite a big impact. I don't think Davis Mills is someone that's going to sort of light the fire within the Texans to sort of drag them back into sort of play of contention. And it's a division, AFC South, that previously was quite easy in terms of the way the Texans had it, but you now do have a Jags team that's sort of a bit up and down, and obviously the Colts have been fantastic this year. So yeah, they need to start stacking some wins here if they are going to keep pace. But it's going to be tough without. I mean, to be honest, Stroud's not really hit the heights of his rookie season, but I still think Davis Mills is a massive drop off in terms of ability at quarterback.
Yeah, agreed. I'll run through these. I don't want to spend too much time on them because the injuries just make me sad. I don't know how much this one will make Cardinals fans sad right enough, but Kyler Murray's been placed in IR. He's going to miss at least 4 games now. But, you know, Jacoby Brissett actually looked pretty good, didn't he? He looked if he could actually get in there and win a few games. They looked serviceable. Trey McBride's catching touchdowns. Marvin Harrison Jr. is getting targets. Is this actually an upgrade? Is this a good thing for the Cardinals going forward? Kev, I'll go with you. You can tell me.
Yeah. I mean, it could be. I've said all season so far that there's just something about the Cardinals I didn't like. I mentioned a while back that I thought Kyler might end up missing time this season, that could be the change that they need to kind of spark something. I think so. I don't think it's going to be enough, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Andy, anything else to add in there, or do you want me to jump on?
Yeah, it's just interesting. I think Cardinals fans probably questioning why he's only just been put on IR. The timing of it all with Brissett beating the Cowboys, and I think he's actually played really well since taking the start. And I would have went with Brissett over Murray, even just healthy. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, but I've enjoyed watching Brissett. I always have. He's sort of potentially best backup quarterback in the league. He's just been a bit unfortunate. He's never found a true home.
I don't think he's ever just quite reached the levels needed as a starter, but like you say, he's always been one of the best backups that's out there, and apparently loved by the dressing rooms, and always an absolute professional. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does going forward, and just what this might mean for Kyler Murray long term. You know, Jonathan Gannon it to save his skin. Is this a soft benching as such, as we've kind of mentioned a couple of weeks ago, like JJ McCarthy and things like that? Just use the injury, just bench him, roll away Jacoby Brissett, see how he gets on for a few weeks, try and put some wins together, and maybe save Jonathan Gannon's skin. So keep an eye on that one. The Chargers, them have absolutely no luck, especially when it comes to the tackle position. They lost Slater at the start of the year, and now Joe Alt is done for the season. I think he's away for some surgery. It looked a bit of a bad one as well at the weekend. That is an absolute massive blow to the Chargers, who I think they're already sitting at 6-3, I think, for the season, so they're still well up in there in the chances for the AFC West. That is an absolute blow, Andy, isn't it, for the Chargers' hopes this year?
Yeah, and just in general, their offensive line's taking hits. I mean, we'll probably touch on it, but Trevor Penning's looking like he's going to be the projected starting left tackle.
Oh my!
It's a bit of a swing. Justin Herbert's has played phenomenal, and obviously you're seeing him having to scramble so much now that you do worry about his health going forward behind this offensive line. Joe looks like he's going to be a foundational piece for the Chargers moving forward, which is really positive. Obviously, yeah, with a strong sort of start to this season in terms of their record, it's sad to see. You want to see the best players out there, and it's a shame that the Chargers just can't seem to get a run going in terms of with their health.
Yeah, it just seems to be one of those things, doesn't it? Because that was looking a really tasty offensive line at the start of the year, Kev, where Rashawn Slater in there and Joe Alt, and just try to get the run game established, like Jesus, what's her man? What's he? The Harbaugh loves to do, and it just seems that it's all collapsing. But I guess if there's one man that can kind of drag them through that, it is Justin Herbert.
Yeah, he has been playing great. But like you say, it's a worry at his age, and it's not really his game to be scrambling and extending plays. So it'll be very tough for them to keep their record intact going forward.
And the last one I've got on my list here, Green Bay again. Tucker Kraft, they looked to was having a massive breakout season. Probably the number one tight end in the league over the last few weeks, and he goes down for what's the season as well. That's a massive blow to Green Bay. That's a team that's never looked just right. They had a couple of good games early in the season, looked like they could be a real competitor. And then it just looks like the wheels have completely come off their season, and that's a massive blow for them as well. Obviously, Andy, you're invested in this as a Lions fan. That's not going to do them any favours this year, is it?
No, I think Kraft's the one in their offense that every time we've certainly played them, he just seems to get loose and find that space, whether it's man-to-man or in zone. And he was definitely having the best sort of season of his career and looked a real threat, the number one option out there for Jordan Love. So it's a shame to see him go down. You're now needing your receivers to step up, but we've seen in the past couple of weeks that no one's really, again, there's that conversation of who is the wide receiver one in Green Bay. Obviously, Jaden Reed's out. I like Jaden Reed. I think he's a brilliant receiver. Romeo Dobbs, again, I like him. So, yeah, someone's going to have to step up. They've also got, Luke Musgrave was drafted the same year as Tucker Kraft, so I'm presuming he's just going to, step into that role or try to as much as he can. But, yeah, it's a massive loss for Green Bay.
Yep. Kev, fantasy owners all over the place are be crying in their pillows at night, I'm guessing.
Aye, I think I've got him in about 5 fantasy leagues, so I was gutted. The only positive is I had the handcuff with Luke Musgrave in one of them, so he'll be going in. I think in the first season, when the two of them first came in, Musgrave was actually ahead of Kraft. And then Kraft just Musgrave got hurt towards the end of that season, I think, and Kraft just took his chance. So it's one guy's misfortune, it's another guy's opportunity. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, indeed. And then I'd like to just kind of touch on the kind of devastating news that came out of Dallas just a few hours ago. Their defensive tackle, Marshawn Nealand, 24, has unfortunately passed away. That's on a personal level, forget the football side, personal level is just absolutely tragic. It seems, I know there's some reports out there, I never like to kind of jump on the bandwagon, but it looks like from a police statement that it's maybe been a self-inflicted shot. I think he maybe shot himself or something like that, judging by maybe some of the reports coming out. But that's just absolutely tragic. He just come off from actually scoring a touchdown in Monday Night Football there. He recovered the blocked punt and landed on it in the end zone. Such a bright future, only 24-year-olds. Absolutely tragic, isn't it, guys? It just shows you what, a lot of people have sports personalities on a pedestal and think they've got it all and got it made. And it just shows you just never know what's sort of going on sort of behind closed doors and what people are going through. And it's just so sad and absolutely tragic for everybody involved, for these friends, family, and the organisation as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Sorry, Andy.
No, yeah, sorry, I was just going to say, no, you're definitely right, Danny. And from what by all accounts, it sounds like a really nice, genuine person who made a real good impression on a number of teams when he was going through the sort of draft process. Seemed like he had a really good character, really bubbly person. So yeah, just tragic.
Yeah, no, definitely our hearts go out to them, to everybody involved, and just on a kind of broader note, again, MD out there that's ever suffering or feeling down, you're not alone. Just reach out to people. Reach out to MD. Reach out to folk online. Drop us a message on this. We'll talk to you. We've all been through it. We've all with our troubles. We're happy to share, our pains that we've been through. I know Keith has mentioned it in the previous sort of podcast. I've been through it all myself as well. So just make sure you reach out to people, talk to people. Never let it get that bad, because trust me, it might seem dark at the time, but the dawn is just coming right up behind it, and things get much, much better. So everybody just kind of stay safe out there and look after each other. So yeah, that was terrible, tragic news. But anyway, let's try and brighten up the note a wee bit, because that is sad. But we'll try and make a podcast still work out after that. So I want to quickly, as I said, recap week 8, what sort of went on. I will barter through all the scores and what I can remember about the games anyway. And then I'll just get you guys to punch in where you sort of went. So I started off Thursday Night Football. Ravens dismantled the Dolphins 28-6. Lamar Jackson back in the line, throwing for 4 touchdown passes. The Bears, and that Bengals game was absolutely nuts. The last couple of minutes was unreal. The Bengals and Bears don't know how to defend. It finished 47-42. Unreal game. With Caleb Williams obviously connecting with Loveland over the middle for that walk-in sort of touchdown win. The Vikings 27-24 over the Lions. I'm sure that one hurt Andy. JJ McCarthy back in the line there. To me, watching it, seemed like it was the defences on top there, and that was Brian Flores back to his very best. The Panthers remaining sort of streaky and kind of getting these wins, 16-13 over the Packers, who again are just kind of no idea what they're doing, but this was all in the back of Rico Dowdle, just absolutely carrying them through big time. The Chargers beat the Titans 27-20, although that wasn't going to plan at one point, and that looked like it could be an interesting game. Obviously, the Chargers were finding ways to beat themselves. I think Titans had a kick-off return touchdown and a block punt and a pick six and all this sort of stuff going on with that one. The Patriots hold on for dear life against the Falcons. It was a missed extra point that sealed them the win, 24-23. The 49ers 34, Giants 24. McCaffrey and the 49ers run all of the Giants really in that one. It was always going to be a tricky game for the Giants to get back into the kind of swing of things after Scarborough. Steelers, for the big shock, I would say maybe of the week, some might say anyway, 27-20 over the Colts. So the Colts are sort of brought back down to earth. And this Steelers team that nobody can figure out wins and keeps themselves alive in the playoff hunt. Broncos 18, Texans 15. I think that was a game that everybody thought would be low scoring. Defenses on top, the way the one went. Then it came down to a kind of last second field goal, as usual for the Broncos. The Jags beat the Raiders in overtime, thanks to the Raiders going for a 2-point conversion and failing. So it was a 30-29. Fair play to them for going for it. The Rams dismantled the Saints 34-10. And the big one, obviously, Sunday Night Football. Bills 28, Chiefs 21. And then just to round off the... Oh, sorry, that wasn't Sunday Night Football, was it? That was just one of the later games. Wrap off the week. Seahawks tear apart the Commanders. Sam Darnold was unbelievable in that game, 38-14. And then there was a slap fest in Monday Night Football. The Cardinals beat the Cowboys, but okay, cool. We move on with that one, 27-17. So, guys, I'll throw it quickly back at you. Kev, what was since your team was on a bye, I'm assuming you were glued to that red zone, just concentrating all this and absorbing it for this very podcast. What did you take away from week 9?
Well, I think it was the Colts losing. It's going to be interesting to see how they react to that again. Yeah, that was a big one for me.
And Andy, what about yourself? Assuming you might want to touch on that Lions game.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously watched the Lions game, and I think your sort of Brian Flores' defense certainly showed up with a great game plan, sort of attacking that interior offensive line of the Lions that just couldn't handle them. And JJ McCarthy did what was needed. He made plays when he had to. They moved the ball. They sort of ran the ball quite well at times during the game, the Vikings, but yeah, it was mostly the defense that I think carried them there. So a bit worrying for the Lions, but yeah, Vikings just sort of making a statement. That's sort of one of those statement victories that, they're still very much a factor in the NFC North and also just the NFC.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't hurt just to get a wee defeat here and there. Just keeps you grounded. Find your weaknesses, something to work on, continuous improvement, and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, I didn't get to see too much of the games the weekend. I did watch the Pats game, but I wasn't feeling the very best. I guess the one thing I've not picked up on is Cam Little's 68-yard field goal for the Jags as time expired in the second quarter. That was a fair old bit they gave it, wasn't it? That was good to see. I think everybody was expecting that after his pre-season 70-yarder, so good on him. But yeah, I don't think there was, other than the ones we've kind of spoke about, not too much else to touch on. As I said, the past is past. Let's look forward to what's happening there. But before we do that, looking at week 10 games, the trade deadline was Tuesday night. In the old Jim White fashion, it slammed shut at 9 p.m. Eastern Glasgow time, or whatever it is. And it didn't disappoint. It was absolute carnage. I was doing my usual, my kids at guitar lessons and all that, and my phone's gone mental with all the messages coming through and Twitter going off the handle. The big one we need to touch on, and is the theme for the show today, are the Colts on the sauce. Sauce Gardner is traded to the Colts. The Jets get a 2026 and a 2027 first round pick, plus they get wide receiver Eddie Mitchell. So I'll give you my thoughts and then you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. The Colts were absolutely fleeced in this one. I look at what Green Bay gave up for Micah Parsons, who is a future Hall of Famer, a generational talent, arguably the best player in his position, and they gave up 2 first-round picks and a player. Now, Sauce was an absolute stud coming out of college, defensive rookie of the year his first season. Although he's been good, has it been 2 first-round picks and a player good? Because I just look at that and think, wow, like that just seems a hefty price to give up for that caliber of player. Or am I being harsh? Do you think, Andy, that Sauce could be the missing piece that actually just propels the Colts on to, playoffs and future kind of possibly Super Bowl or the number 1 seed?
It's a strange one. You could spin it either way. I'm definitely leaning towards your way of thinking. I think cornerback is such a volatile position to play anyway. It is extremely difficult to be, as they say, like a shutdown cornerback, which, like you say, he's shown he could be in his sort of rookie season and his early sort of couple seasons, but we've not seen that same Sauce Gardner this year, last year. And I 2 first-round picks is far too steep for me. It shows that the Colts have faith in themselves, and also I think it's a nod to Daniel Jones that, look, we're all in on this season and potentially next season moving forward. I don't like what they gave up, and also I think A.D. Mitchell went the other way to go to the Jets. It's going to be good for him personally to potentially have a chance to be a wide receiver too and really show that he can. He was a first round pick from the Colts, so yeah, I think it's good for the Jets, and it's the Jets that they are where they are. They're blowing this up now and trying to get ahead of it, and obviously I think 2027 you're going to look at a few good quarterbacks coming out. Are they looking a couple of years down the line now? So yeah, I'd lean sort of your way of thinking, Danny.
Kev, is this the Jets have just destroyed another talented player and they've just jetsed it? Or, okay, that's maybe my Patriots bias and hatred towards the Jets coming out there. Is it maybe even the fact that they're looking at it and saying, well, we saw what this player was capable under a defensive head coach in Robert Saleh. He obviously has the talent and it's maybe just not been nurtured in the right way, and a fresh lease of life is all that he actually needs, and it might be the missing piece for them. Where do you fall in this one for the amount that the Colts gave up?
I think where I stood on this, Danny. We chatted about it when the news came through. So I think they've massively overpaid as well. I really do. Like you say, he's a talented player. There's no doubt about that. When his first couple of seasons, he looked a real stud. But yeah, I just think the Jets win that trade hands down. it might prove to be a masterstroke if they do go all the way to the Super Bowl this year, and he's shutting wide receivers down, right, left, and centre. Somebody was saying that yes, something to do with you've not really seen him this year, but that's because teams are targeting the opposite side from where he's at. I think it's just because teams aren't really having to throw the ball against the Jets, to be honest. Teams are beating up the Jets, so there's not really a lot of deep balls getting chucked. So I just think that the Jets win the trade, and it was a bit too much they paid.
Fair. You kind of touched on it there, Andy. It's definitely a point I was kind of maybe pressing you a wee bit more. Do you have confidence in Daniel Jones? Okay, we've seen these purple patches before. It got him paid at the Giants. Now, this is a massive commitment, kind of just off the back of them obviously getting schooled. And I think Daniel Jones they turned the ball over like 4 times or something. I say I didn't watch too much of the games due to some sort of personal reasons. How much a gamble is it that they've just kind of pushed all in Daniel Jones for the next 2-3 seasons at least?
But it's a massive gamble. He's playing almost like what Sam Darnold did last year with the Vikings, and it was a will they, won't they situation. But the Colts are saying early on, no, we will keep Daniel, and he will be sort of our future moving forward. If he was to come out from now till the end of the season, they're probably looking back thinking, oh, we don't have the draft capital now anyway. If we wanted to actually move up and take a quarterback in this year's draft. So it is very much an all-in move on the sort of group that they have. The thing with the Colts is they have a lot of continuity in the players that they have, with Jonathan Taylor, some guys on the defensive side in the front seven, and their offensive line as well. So they clearly feel very strongly about their chances, and maybe this is the year to sneak one in on the sort of the big dogs in the AFC.
Yeah, it's. He's got to be rubbing in his hands, Kev, though, isn't he? Because let's face it, Daniel Jones now has them over a barrel. I think he's making like 12 million or 15 million or something like that now. He'll be like, okay, give me money. Give me all the money's kind of going forward. You've just traded away the next couple of years. You're not taking a quarterback. I want 40 million. I want 45 million. And they can't really say no, can they?
Well, I suppose it depends how he plays. He's still got to earn that money. So, yeah, I think that the way things are going just now, you've got to put your trust in them and say that they're going to keep it going. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't. I suppose I don't know what I'm trying to say here. You've got to try and inspire them. Give them your trust. Make them believe that you believe in them, and that's a big statement that I've put out there to try and kind of do that.
Shane Steichen's the man for that anyway. We'll stick with the Jets. They weren't finished the fire sale. Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys. The Jets decide to collect even more first-round picks. They get another 2026 first-round pick. Oh, sorry. They got a 2026 second-round pick. They got a 2027 first-round pick. Plus, they get a defensive tackle, Mazi Smith, who I think was a first-round pick 2 years ago, I think, for the Cowboys. Okay, let's start. Let's go. We'll stick with the Jets now, right? Because it kind of draws a line under them. Complete fire sale. Is this a sign that they are obviously not sticking with Fields, which I think was probably a given going by Woody Johnson's comments a couple of weeks ago? And do you trust the Jets to do anything with all these first round picks? Kev, what's your thoughts? You kind of gave a wee smile there.
Well, their track record in the draft's not been great the last few years. Maybe Sauce Gardner aside, I suppose. But
well, that's the thing. Sorry, that's the thing. Though. It was only a few years ago they had 3 first-round picks. They took Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, and Jermaine Johnson. Now they've just traded Sauce, and they were looking to offload Jermaine Johnson as well, and they're looking to obviously keep Garrett Wilson. You know, I just. Is this another thing? You know, they've just traded away 2 premium players who are going to be good. There's no guarantees in the draft. is there much faith that they're actually going to turn these first round picks into actually anything of substance?
No,
Well, I guess I answered that question anyway, but especially with their track record.
You've answered it yourself for sure. No, there's no guarantees, but like you say, that they're definitely stockpiling picks. So they're putting themselves in a good position for a rebuild. They've still kept some pieces, like you said. They've still got Garrett Wilson. They've still got Breece Hall. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what they do over the next couple of seasons.
And what's your thoughts, Andy? Is this a sign that Irn-Cru will get a second year, I guess, given the fact that they've now had a mid-season fire sale and it's just looking to rebuild a team in his name or honour kind of going forward? You obviously know Irn-Cru very well for his time at the Lions. Do you think this is something they can turn around and actually be a force going forward?
I think he has a chance. I was never Irn-Clu's big fan as a DC, but in terms of I can actually see him as a head coach, more of a player's player, someone that players can rally around. I don't understand. He has to be there next year, otherwise this makes no sense, because it's not an environment that another head coach would potentially want to go in, knowing that they've just done a fire sale, but also your job's on the line without the talent there to use. I think they are looking towards that 2027 draft, where there is sort of it's one of these meant to be generational sort of draft classes that are coming through, and potentially in 3 years' time, they're looking at a really solid team. So try to spin it positively. Like you said, they have Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, the O-line's actually good when healthy. If they are all healthy, that's the problem. Elijah Vera-Tucker seems to be, he's had 2 torn triceps, I think, and his ACL, and it's if they can keep that together with Breece Hall, get another receiver in there, like I said, but it's going to take a few years, and Jets fans have been waiting for I don't know how many years for a real competent team now.
Is it Taylor, the tight end, as well? They've got this. He's looking all right as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they have pieces. They have pieces to build around, but it's like I said, for those Jets fans that are just waiting in it, it's every 3-4 years. It's as a Lions fan, I have been through there as much as we're doing okay of recent. Yeah, it's frustrating.
I was watching all the TikTok videos and stuff online of all the wee guys crying and stuff. That's how the dad's bringing the news to the kids and stuff, and them stomping away. And I think Sauce Gardner actually signed some jerseys and stuff they sent to them and stuff like that. But it just, when you were at that fire show, I was thinking back to that kids how they filmed them outside after a game. So I just hate this team, Mm-hmm. I'm always going to be a Jets fan, but I hate them. And I just can't help but think that, that guy's probably still hating life right now, if no more. If I want to put a positive spin on it, the Pats still have to play the Jets twice this year. So that's what I'm looking at. Might as well go down that route. But let's look at it from a Cowboys point of view. So on top of that, they add another defender to the roster. They trade with the Bengals. What was it? A 2026 7th round pick for Logan Wilson. This was, I think he led tackles and stuff in that team maybe last year, whatever it is, but he wasn't seen much of the field this year. From a Cowboys point of view, considering everything we've seen, the fact they were just destroyed by Jacoby Brissett in prime time and Dallas, Kev, does the addition of Quinnen Williams and Logan Wilson move the needle in the slightest for Dallas?
Well, at least they're trying. That's all I'll say. They've on offense have been excellent this year. They've put up a lot of points. Dak's playing great football again after his injury last season. I think they've got to try and do something. The Cowboys fans won't be happy if they just leave things as they are and let this season crash and burn. So, I don't know if it will make the difference, but at least they're trying.
Andy, they could have just kept Micah Parsons, I guess, and saved themselves a lot of bother. Jerry obviously loves to keep himself in the headlines and stay relevant. There's never a dull moment when he's about. I guess is the addition of Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, Logan Wilson for essentially, I guess, Micah Parsons. Was that Yeah, I don't know what the question is there. Like, does any of that make sense? Are they a better team now than they were before? Are they a better defence now than they were before?
No, I don't think so, because Parsons could game by himself. They've actually moved up in the draft. If you look at it, like 20 spots, that's the only upgrade they've really had in terms of their draft capital. But you don't have Parsons. You've got Quinn Williams, who again brilliant against the run. He's not been so effective against the pass rush this year. So they've got a bit more of a stout middle of the D line, but they're crying out for a Micah Parsons. That's I don't understand.
Ironically,
Personal with Jerry Jones and Parsons, there was definitely something personal there, and I don't think Jerry Jones was willing to let it go and pay Parsons what he wanted. So I suppose they cashing in when back sort of selling high, but yeah, then they just go and give away draft capital anyway. So it's a weird one.
Billionaires don't like to be told what they've done, but don't like to be told what to do they? Kev, what do you make of what they gave up for Quinn Williams? It seemed a lot to me: a first round, a second round, and a former first round pick. I know Massey Smith hasn't kind of set the heather on fire. He's not been, what I'm sure the Jerry was hoping for. Again, is it just me? It seems that the Jets won this trade and they were very well compensated.
Yeah, again, I think the Jets GMs played a blinder the last few days. I definitely think that they've slightly overpaid, or possibly massively overpaid on that one as well. But again, it just all depends on what the Cowboys feel they need to write that defense. Because if they can get just a little bit more out of their defense, and keep a few points off the board, then the offense is putting up enough points to win them games. So, yeah, they obviously felt it was worth it, and only time will tell.
Yep, we will see what happens there. They couldn't stink at the place anymore, so I guess the only way is up. We'll see what happens. Seahawks just got richer. They traded for Rashid Shaheed from the Saints. They gave up, what was that, 2026 fourth round and fifth round pick. They now have a insane deep threat to go away with. Darnold is already doing with Jackson Smith and Jigba. Should the rest of the NFL, I'm talking to two guys here who are fans of NFC teams, are you worried about what this actually means? Because let's face it, the way that they're playing now, the way Darnold's playing at an MVP level, this is a Super Bowl caliber team, and they've just got better. Andy, you worried?
I'm not. Shaheed's brilliant in terms of stretching the field, so they've definitely, on paper, they've definitely improved. But I've been really impressed with Seattle, mainly because of their defense. I think the defense is legit, one of the best in the league. Darnold's putting himself into that MVP sort of discussion. I think he's been playing brilliant. Every time I've watched the Seahawks, he's been great, and the run game's still a threat as well. So they're definitely one to. They're going to be up there come the end of the season, and I think JSN's just been unbelievable. Every time you watch him, I think he's on pace for 2,000 yards, which hasn't been done yet receiving. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if you can break that record.
Kev, you shitting yourself?
No shitting myself. Looking forward to a colossal tussle in the playoffs. I've been impressed with how Seattle have been going this season as well. Going about their business quietly, but playing really good football, solid. And like Andy said, all round as well. It's they just seem to have strength all over the field, both offense and defense. But I've always been a fan of Shaheed. I think he's an incredible deep threat. A real speed star. Can pull off a play out of nowhere, get you 60, 70, 80 yards up the field. So it definitely makes him a tougher prospect to come up against. Like I said, I'll just be happy if I get to see us play them in the postseason.
Right, a couple of other ones, like before, there's a couple I want to get your take on, Kev. But Jacoby Myers gets his move. He wanted it to Raiders. The Jags paid a 2026 4th and 6th round pick for him. We know that Travis Hunter was on IR. I think Brian Thomas Jr. has been dropping balls left, right, and centre, and I think he's a bit banged up as well. They obviously need some reinforcements in there, and still, which is not a wide open AFC South, but they're still in contention. That's a great move for him. I've got to say, as a former Patriots player, I love Jacoby Myers. Just a very reliable wide receiver, great hands, always a great professional. I think that's a really good move. I think Big Trev is going to be absolutely delighted to have him to throw to. It's just whether, I guess, they can scheme something up for him in Jacksonville, because again, it seems to be a wee bit of a weird season when, again, you've got this unicorn, a player who's not really done too much. Liam Cohen's not got the best out of him yet, and saying Brian Thomas Jr.'s, in the sophomore slump for the ages. So, good move, Andy.
Yeah, I think so. I've always been a fan of Jacoby Myers. I think the contract that the Raiders did give him turned out to be really good value for what he was giving them.
That still hurts.
Yeah, I can't. Patriots just didn't sort of match it, but
for $1 million or something like that, we went for Juju Smith-Schuster instead. Mental. Anyway,
he's needed as well. That's the thing, is because, like you say, Brian Thomas Jr. is just not. Last season it was brilliant to see him in his rookie season. We've just not seen that consistency. Like you say, Travis Hunter's now out. I think Parker Washington's a nice sort of slot receiver. So maybe Myers still gives them the threat on the outside. But Jacksonville this year have been quite good in the run game as well with ETN. So it's good that potentially, they're still going to be able to keep teams guessing a wee bit more. That they're not expecting the run with ETN with Myers out there. So yeah, it's a good move, and it's a I wouldn't say aggressive move, but it's a positive move for Jacksonville.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they can do with him. Right, so there was another few trades done. I'll bar through them. We'll not touch on them too much. You already mentioned Trevor Penning went to the Chargers from the Saints for a 2027 6th round pick. We'll see what happens there. Joe Tyron, JTS, and a 2026 7th round pick is to the Bears, defensive end, I believe, and the Browns get a 2026 6th round pick back. I don't know anything about him, to be honest. I'm not even going to. I can't even see his name. Never mind know how he plays. I don't think he's played all that much this year. Guys, anything about this particular player?
I think it's cover for the Bears, who just lost one of their edge rushers, who they signed in free agency. It was one of their big signings. And the name I cannot remember for the life of me. But I think it's just it's not much in terms of the draft capital they've given up, and it's more a necessity out of anything.
Cool. Drummond Jones is away to the Ravens from the Titans. They give up a 2026 conditional 5th round pick. Again, just a bit of defense of kind of bodies in there, just kind of try to shore things up. Right, the two, Kev, I want to come to you for Jalen Phillips to the Eagles from the Miami Dolphins for a 2026 3rd round pick, and Jair Alexander to the Eagles from the Ravens for a 2026 6th round pick. Tell me, how is Howie doing it?
I don't know.
Have moody pictures of all these general managers online somewhere in compromising positions? Something must be happening, because I love that. Giving up a 3rd round pick for Jalen Phillips, I think, is a brilliant bit of business if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, and it's not even that. It's the worst of the 2 3rd round picks we've got.
Of course it is.
We gave up our own, but we've got one coming back. Is it who's ours coming from? The Jets? Yeah, I think it's the Jets. So yeah, he's just an absolute genius. I'm very happy with those 2 trades. Obviously, the defense is where we needed players. we've got Brandon Graham back for retirement. We'll see how that goes. And then he's went ahead and added another two fairly decent pieces, whether it's to start or whether it's just for depth. But obviously, we've seen it last year with us. Our defence was excellent in the Super Bowl. Defence wins you championships, and it looks like we're kind of gearing up for another deep run again this year with those signings.
Andy, this Jalen Phillips trade has just got another sort of Zach Bond sort of defensive player of the year written all over it next year. Then it just seems like this has got to be something that's just going to absolutely work for them. They've got a habit of picking up players who are maybe just kind of just middling along at other teams and just turn them into Pro Bowlers and All Pros, and ultimately probably in the Super Bowl. What's your thoughts on these trades?
It's just like that meme where it's like they can't keep getting away with this. For being a fan of the Lions that do business the complete opposite way, it can be frustrating to watch a team always be so aggressive. But I think it's the way to be. It's always win now with the Eagles, and so it should be. I think as well, Jalen Phillips. I might be wrong in saying this, but even if he hits free agency come the end of this year, they might pick up a compensatory pick anyway, which is basically. Yeah. Which is like mental, because they're going to get a third round pick potentially back anyway. So it makes perfect sense, and it's great business for them. And I think Jair Alexander as well, we obviously know what he's done in the past. When he was at Green Bay, he was a brilliant cornerback. They are the team that will get the best out of players like that, and if they can, then I think Alexander might sort of be on his way out of the league. I would trust the Eagles to get the best out of him, and frustrating as it is, it's good moves being made by a team that always, I feel, go about their business in the right way.
Cool. I don't know if I cut it there or you guys cut it there, but apologies to him if we did all cut it. I was talking gibberish to myself in the background. So, but we got to your point there in the end, Andy. So it sounded good. So yeah, the Eagles have used their black magic and looked at again. So, right. Any other thoughts on the trades? I think that is comprehensively covered. I think we'll move on to the next section of our show, unless you guys have got anything else you want to cover. We'll look at the sort of key games coming up in week 10. I can't believe it's week 10. It's just not real, you know. It's just wasting my life here. Weeks are passing by. Right, so first game, we've got an early doors one. We're off to Germany. Berlin's first game. Falcons at the Colts. This is going to be... Well, one, I'm actually really enjoying these half-two games on a Sunday. There's nothing better than sitting for like 14 hours straight and just sitting watch NFL back-to-back. It is fucking banging. This one's taking place in the Olympic Stadium in Berlin. This is the makings a really interesting game. I was watching, obviously, the Falcons at first hand this week. First time I've proper look at them. You're not passing the ball on them. That is a very good pass defense. I think Drake May had the best stats of a quarterback against the Falcons last week. It was probably Drake May's worst game. He struggled, especially in the second half. So in the back of that game for Daniel Jones, what he just had there, it's got to be a lot of expectation for him. Obviously, what we just said there, they've got Sauce Gardner coming to kind of shore things up. Michael Penix, to Drake London, looked absolute dynamite at the last week as well. Is this got the makings of an upset? Is this because this Falcons team just seemed very hard to predict? One week they're getting absolutely destroyed by the Dolphins, then next week they're beating the Bills and stuff, and they're taking the Patriots to the final second. Kev, does this have an upset written all over it?
I mean, at the risk of repeating myself, I think last week when we looked forward to the Pats coming up against the Falcons, I did say like the Falcons, you just never know what you're going to get, and it wouldn't surprise me if they went out and beat the Pats, and they very, very nearly did. Nothing surprises me with the Falcons. What you can do is trust them. I don't think you can ever make them favourites because they seem capable of losing any game. But
What,
at the same
2080
time.
lead, that sort of thing.
Yeah, famously, yeah.
I just have to get that in there, don't I?
You never saw that game though, Daddy, or at
Shut
least you
up.
never saw you never saw the second half, did you?
Move on.
So to sum it up, I wouldn't be shocked if they won. So yeah, they're very well could be an upset in that one.
Andy, any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I agree with you. The Falcons, you just don't know what team you're getting. Are you getting the one that beat the Buffalo Bills, or are you getting the one that couldn't score a point on the Carolina Panthers? So interesting game. I think, like we say, Sauce Gardner, I think he'll be available for this one. I think he was in concussion protocol, but it looks like he'll be healthy. So he'll probably just follow Drake London about. So that's going to be a really match up to see. But yeah, they're 3 games behind the Bucks as well in their division. So again, they're a team that's running out of games. The schedule sort of opens up a wee bit for them after this one. But if they can get this win here, then they're against Carolina, New Orleans, and the Jets. So that's it could be a good run in for Atlanta. But
very good.
I don't trust them, like you have said. But interesting though, because the Colts are coming off a bit of adversity, so we'll see.
Yeah,
we will. What's the? Oh, I was trying to think. Why have I not got it here? Sorry. Yeah, Indy are favoured by 6.5 points. So strong favourites to obviously go in, but never know. Maybe worth a wee sneaky 50p each way on the Falcons. See what happens there. Right, next game I have picked for our key games. Sorry, I went full dictator on this one, and I picked all the games. But Ravens at Vikings. This is a 6 o'clock kickoff. Ravens in the back of that impressive win, that impressive Lamar Jackson comeback game, 4 touchdown passes. The Vikings, though, with their impressive win against the Lions last week. This one, again, I find the Vikings a very hard team to know what we're actually getting, what we're actually going to be up against. Now, obviously, last couple of weeks, they've had a basically broken ginger quarterback and Carson Wentz, and it probably wasn't a great idea to run well. They now seem to have a healthy quarterback, so is that the makings of it? The Ravens were obviously in a slump, but they're still favourites to go and win the AFC North. They're 4.5 point favourites in this game. Can you see the Vikings, Andy? I'll come to you. Obviously, you've watched them last week. Can you see them causing the Ravens problems? And do they have enough to actually win and cause the upset?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I think they can win. A lot of it's going to come down to JJ McCarthy, but he is a mobile quarterback. He can get out and potentially cause the Ravens defense a few issues, but the Ravens are looking pretty healthy now, obviously with Lamar back, and I think a couple other key players back. It's going to be a tough ask in a game that whoever loses this potentially sees himself again one of those teams that starts drifting away, especially for the Ravens, obviously they were 1-5, I think, at one point. So interesting game, but I don't see why. I wouldn't be sort of surprised if the Vikings pull this one off.
Kev, anything to go on? Go against Andy. Go. Tell him he's talking shite.
No, he's certainly not talking shite. But I think that Andy's actually spot on. For me, this is a massive game for the Ravens because if they do, they've started to get a bit of momentum. They've got Lamar back. They've got a win. They're only going to get stronger as the season goes on now, I think. But they pretty much need to win out. So I think it's a really, really tasty game. I'm looking forward to seeing it. But I do think the Ravens will win it.
Heard it here first. Right, next game I've got up, homer for me. Patriots away on the road at the Bucks, another 6 o'clock kickoff. I think this is going to be obviously a fascinating game. Patriots 7-2, Bucks 6-2, just coming off the back of a bye. Bucks, I think on paper, are the better team. They have the better weapons, but unfortunately half of those are injured. Chris Godwin, last I heard, wasn't he practicing? Bucky Irvin wasn't he practicing? How fit is the rookie who Gronk can't pronounce his name either? Ibuka. That was close enough, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How fit is he going to be? But again, the Patriots have injuries. Gonzalez obviously left the game at the weekend. Mondre Stevenson had a toe injury. He wasn't practicing. Keyshawn Booty had a hamstring injury. This one, the Bucks are favoured by 2.5 points, so not too much in it. Personally, I'm always going to favour on my Pats team, who are 4-0 on the road so far this year. I think they could have the matchups in this one. I think if they're fair enough, if it goes their way. But I think with Baker Mayfield under centre, the Bucks are always a tasty team. I love watching Baker play. He just looks so much fun out there. Do you see a road upset here, Andy, or are the Bucks going to come off their bye and go like 7-2?
I think the Bucks will win this, and I think it'll be mainly because of their defense. I always enjoy watching the Bucks play. And like I say, on red zone, they always seem to be flashing up with a pick six or a fumble recovery or something along that lines, as well as, like you say, Baker Mayfield can be explosive, both running the ball, running defenders over, and throwing it deep as well. So I think the Bucks will take this one. It's tough because I've enjoyed watching the Patriots, but then I look at the teams they have beaten, and this is a real sort of test for them and sort of where are they actually at, because the last ones, the Falcons, the Browns, the Titans, that's expected wins for me. So this is an interesting one for Drake May as well, to see if he can handle on the road, but I'll go with the Bucks. I'll go against you.
Kev, I'm already blacklisted one member of the panel tonight. Am I going to have to do two?
No, I mean, I'm kind of similar to Andy. I've really enjoyed watching both these teams. With the Pats, I think I said it. I don't know if it was in private to you or if it was on the show last time, but I've liked the way that you are spreading the ball around, getting loads of different receivers. So I think maybe if you're all starting to get a bit banged up now, don't know if you'll be able to keep that going. The Bucks are tough to beat at home. I'm going to just say, purely because I want some fellow contenders for that number one seed to drop out the race, I'm going to go for a narrow Pats victory.
Yeah, no, my head actually says the Bucks win this one. I think you look at Drake May's been sacked like 12 times in the last 2 weeks. We've not got our bye until like week 14 or something stupid like that. Things are starting to. People are starting to get beat up. People are starting to get a bit injured on the road. A team off the bye. In theory, all that sort of stuff stacked together should see the Bucks through in this game. I can't agree with the spread though. 2.5 points seems about right. I think it will be a close game. I think they'll keep it tight. But I just think we're just going to come up a wee bit short, unfortunately. But it should be a cracker of a game, especially with the over-under at 48.5 points. That would be tasty. Right, the other one I'm getting here is we'll bar through a few of these quicker. Cardinals, Seahawks. So Cardinals are on the road at Seahawks. Seahawks, we've just said, they've just added Shaheed to their attack. They're off that impressive win. But I think what makes this one so interesting is, like we mentioned earlier, Jacoby Brissett now back there. Trey McBride's catching touchdown passes. Marvin Harrison Jr. looks like he's got a new lease of life. Can you see an upset? Again, what we hear, Seattle are 6.5 points favourites in this game, so they should win it handily if the bookies are in to go by. But I don't know, there's just something kind of in the air with this game that made me kind of stop looking and go, that could be. I think that could be a tasty game. Kev, am I having shite?
No, I suppose the way this season's gone, you never know. But for me, I think it's a comfortable Seahawks win. I just don't, like you say, there's some pieces there, but I think what are they running with our third and fourth choice running backs against that Seattle defense? For me, I think Seattle will get too much for them.
An easy win then, Andy?
Yeah, I agree with Kev there, and I think it's such a good foundation for the Seahawks having that defense that even if they aren't clicking on all cylinders on the offensive side, I'm expecting them to be able to shut down the run and sort of force Brissett to sort of make those sort of splash plays, which he, like, to be fair to him, he has done sort of over the past couple of weeks. But I'm expecting the Seahawks to win, and potentially a team that's got 2 award winners in Darnold, potentially MVP, and then JSN might pick up Offensive Player of the Year. So yeah, I'll go Seahawks as well.
Yeah, so that's a 9:05 kickoff. 20 minutes later, their divisional rivals are facing off. The Rams are on the road to the 49ers. We're back to another Shanahan versus McVay matchup. The 6-2 Rams up against the 6-3 49ers. Rams are favoured by 4.5 points. The 49ers have done exceptionally well, given that they're held together with like double-sided tape and just chewing gum and goodwill sort of thing. This Rams team, I think the Rams obviously come off a bye and then dismantled the Saints last week, I think it was. This has got to be a tough test for 49ers, and I know it's, you know, this rivalry can have weird and wonderful kind of outcomes, but is this just one step too far? Is this juggernaut, the way that Stafford's playing, Nakua's playing, just got to be one? And that defense, that's the other thing. Just like, I think that Rams defense is unreal and very underrated. You know, as a guy who covers Mac Jones, sort of all ends of problems. Andy, are you going with the bookies in this one? The Rams got to take it.
Yeah, I think 4.5 points. I'd be quite confident with that for LA. I think Michael Williams is now done for the season, which is the rookie pass rusher for 49ers. So, but you know, like you say, they've done incredibly well to be where they are at the moment, considering all the injuries they have sort of that they've taken. And Mac Jones has at times played really well, but I don't see them causing the upset here. I think the Rams are definitely one of the most complete teams there is in the NFL. You touched on their defense. I think the front 4, or even if you say the front 7, can really get after you, and they can make sort of splash plays as well on the other side of the ball. So yeah, Stafford's been again one of those, probably going to be up there for the MVP in that sort of conversation. He's been lights out. The running games look good, so I'll go with LA as well, and quite comfortably.
Kev, you making it 3-0 for the crew in favour of the Rams?
Yeah, I mean, there's doubts over Puka's fitness, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, with his fitness.
Yeah, but I mean, Puka, if he plays, I think the Rams win. Like you both said, though, I think it's astonishing that the Niners are where they are with the amount of injuries they've had. I remember last season, or maybe 2 seasons ago, whenever we spoke about them on the pod, we used to say how they were just one bad injury, like one key player away from just like, you know, being out of the running. And you know, for them to have lost all the pieces that they've lost this year, trading away Debo, losing, you know, piece after piece on offense and defense, the fact that they're even in with a shout is incredible. So I don't think they'll manage to pull it off this week, but you never know.
I think it's just one of these fascinating matchups, isn't it? The Kyle Shanahan versus Sean McVay. There's just arguably maybe 2 of the best head coaches in the league just going toe-to-toe, and there's obviously that rivalry. It's not just divisional. It almost seems personal with them, and they're just kind of going to go hammer and tong at it, and you can tell this is something that means a lot to them as well, these games. So I think that there's an extra bit of spice in that one. That's got to be a brilliant showing and the kind of later game on Sunday night.
I think the divisional aspect as well is what makes it, you know, difficult to call. It's amazing in the NFL, the difference. You know, you look at 2 teams who, you know, on paper, one should blow out the other team, but when it's a divisional game, it never seems that easy. Look at ourselves playing against the Giants earlier in the year. Washington have beat us plenty of times in the past when they've been, you know, dead last in the division. So, yeah, I think Yeah, it should be. It should be an interesting matchup.
And I think even just the kind of final point for me in this one is just that obviously if the Seahawks do take care of business, they go to 7-2. The Rams could go to 7-2, or the 49ers can go to 7-3. They're all just want to kind of keep pace with each other. They're all just fighting away the top. And the way that division always seems to end up is, you could end up with like 3 teams with 10 wins or something like that, and somebody's not making the playoffs. So that's going to be a brilliant watch. I'm really, really looking forward to that game. Right, well, last couple of games here. So the kind of last one for me, Sunday Night Football, 1:20 a.m. kickoff, is the Steelers at the Chargers. Again, this one find fascinating. Chargers are 6-3. They're going to be at home. The Steelers have no idea who they are, what they are. They're losing primetime games. They're winning primetime games. They're beating up teams they shouldn't. They're losing again people they shouldn't. The Chargers are favoured by 2.5 points. But again, without Joe Alt, is this a game that TJ Watt is going to absolute feast on? Is that defence going to step up? Now that they've moved what's his name? Ramsey into safety with Kyle Duggar in the back of that defense as well. Again, another fascinating matchup. You can kind of look at the matchups across the board, both sides of the ball. And do the Chargers have enough to hold together? And is this a kind of resurgence? Is that win against the Colts for the Steelers, is this going to kickstart their season going forward?
I definitely think it could. I'm leaning towards the Steelers in this one. I think, like you say, I think that pass rush has to get home though. It has to knock Herbert out of rhythm. He does still have weapons to throw to. But for the Steelers, I think Aaron Rodgers has played better than I thought he would with the Steelers, to be honest. I know it's a bit dink and dunk at times with the offense, but there has been a few splash plays in there as well. I think they can do enough to score points, and then I'm looking at potentially forcing a turnover or two. So I'd lean towards the Steelers, but it's a game that it might potential coin flip really. Again, it could come down to just Herbert being able to get out and scramble, maybe pick up a few first downs that way, and keep drives, sort of keep sustaining drives. So it's a good one though. It's a good sort of primetime game, I think, to see which one of these teams are really going to sort of try and take a grip in the AFC and push themselves up there.
Yeah. Kev, where are you coming down on this one? Where's your 50p got to go?
I think the Steelers will sneak it as well. I do. I think they got a great win last week. They'll be confident, and it is. I think a lot of it depends on their defense, whether they can, they can stop the Chargers moving the ball up the field. So yeah, I'm gonna lean towards the Steelers, but it'll be a really tight one, I think.
Right, last game, Monday Night Football. We have the Philadelphia Eagles at the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, birds!
What'd you unleash, Stu? 6-2 Eagles, 5-2-1 Packers. The Packers obviously just come off the back again, they're getting scudded, which, just for an extra point, just for the honking uniforms alone, deserve to get beat last week. They are atrocious, let me add. And so I tell you, made it even stupider how those helmets that were sort of painted and they looked ridiculous. It was the concussion ones that went on the top looked fucking stupid. Like, absolutely, I was pissing myself looking at them. They looked like a cartoon. It just looked stupid. Anyway, that's me kind of on my high horse about how stupid those uniforms were. Surprisingly, in this one, Kev, Green Bay are favoured by 1.5 points. I am astonished at that because I have got this down as an easy win for the Philadelphia Eagles. Tell me your non-biased, not birds-inspired, green-tinted specs approach to this one. Go.
Well, do you know, I've been saying all season that I just don't see it with the Packers. They just the eye test for me, there looks like something not quite right about them. Despite that, up until last week, they were number one seeds. So yeah, they're obviously doing something right. But in this game, fresh off the bye, I expect us to get the win. I think maybe me saying that I just there's something that I don't like about Green Bay, that they don't look that great to me. Probably comes back to haunt me, doesn't it, on Monday night? But no, I fancy us.
Usually the way it works. Andy, are your divisional rivals going to cause? Well, I was going to say cause an upset, but if they're favourites in this game, obviously it's not an upset. But I guess what Kev says there, I've not been impressed by the Packers from the eye test. They're struggling against the Cardinals, and they're kind of losing games they shouldn't have, drawing things. How do you see this one unfolding? Do you have any confidence or faith in the Packers to actually beat the Eagles?
I think they can beat him. I think Lambeau Field tends to give them like a 3-point swing, sort of. That's what the sort of bookies tend to do when they're playing at home. I can see them winning, but it's nice for me because it's just nice to know one of these teams is going to lose. Because I'm a big fan of the Eagles. They're probably the one team that I like to see lose on a Sunday. So sorry, but I think that's more to do with the head coach than anything. He's because I do love Saquon and I love some of the players that the Eagles have. But I think I can see the Packers doing it, but it's worrying, losing to a team like the Panthers in the fashion that they did. I expected that to be an easy win. That was the biggest upset, I think, via the bookies of this. I think they were 12-point underdogs or something, Carolina. So that was a real upset. And I think a lot of Green Bay fans aren't too happy at Matt LaFleur. And sort of the way he's handled adversity, answering questions. So there might be a bit of unrest there in Green Bay, but I would swing towards the Eagles.
I think. Oh, sorry. I think a lot of it depends on our health as well, because Saquon pulled up in our last game. I don't know. By all accounts, it sounds like he's going to make it. We had no AJ Brown out last game either, so I think it depends who we've got there. But it is a massive game for the NFC. The race for the number one seed. So I'm absolutely buzzing. I can't wait.
Buzzing. We'll see how buzzing you're at 1:20 in the morning, right? See if you're still awake for a Kev. Right, guys. I don't think there's any more to be said. We'll just see what comes out. We'll see how these trades impact all these teams. We'll see how it all unfolds. It is the joys of the NFL. Week 10 is upon us. We're now past the halfway point of the regular season. I am really looking forward to it. I said we've got 14 hours or something like that of football to look forward to on Sunday. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk through all things NFL related with you. Any final thoughts, Kev?
No, you've really whet my appetite looking forward to those games that you've just highlighted. I'm going to struggle to sleep the next couple of days.
I'm not going there, actually. I was going to say something else. I'm moving on. Andy, a pleasure talking to you, mate. Any final thoughts?
No, like you say, I always like that 2:30 game as well. Get a good head start of just sitting on the couch and doing absolutely nothing but watching football. So, I'm really looking forward to another week of fixtures.
Excellent. And thanks very much to everybody listening, watching, questions, all that sort of good stuff. Again, hit us up on all the social stuff. Subscribe to all the podcasts. Keep an eye out, as saying, on social media for different things we've got coming up. I know Keith's beavering away in the background looking at events and watch-alongs and all this sort of good stuff. So, thanks very much for watching, and we'll catch you definitely next week when we review what's happened in Week 10. Thanks very much.